Hi guys, welcome to another Chelmer Maths tutorial. Mr. Gordon here, and we're going to be making a series of videos that look at A-level maths, and we're going to be following the Edexcel spec. So we're going to start with chapter 1, and this is algebra and functions. So let's have a look. The chapter focuses on basic manipulation of algebra. A lot of this will be following on from the GCSE course, so a lot of this you should know, and it should be maybe a refresher after a long summer. You might need a quick freshen up on these topics. It goes over the rules of surds and indices, and like I said, you know, it's going to be a refresher course, but it is pretty important that you understand what you're doing with these first topics, because they pretty much are the workings and skills you need to access the rest of the course. So let's have a look. Chapter 1, some very basic GCSE stuff, collecting like terms. So like terms are terms that are the same. Okay, so what terms can we put together and what terms can we not? Let's have a look at some examples. So 5x and 3x, obviously we can add those. It's like counting how many were that total. And squareds go together. So like x squareds go together, b squareds, y squareds, whatever you like. And then we've got the terms like this. So you've got 7ab and 8ab. Those would go together. They would not mix with things like 6a or 5b. You'd have to have ab's. So let's have a look at some examples. I would recommend that you pause the video and have a go at these questions as I go through them. So the first one, pause the video and have a go at this, and then I'll go through the solution. So to start with, obviously you're going to be looking at do it sort of bit by bit. Look at the x terms first. We've got a 3x, and in the middle of the expression here, we've got a minus x. So what is that total? 3x take away 1x. You've got to remember that when you don't have a number in front of your letter, the coefficient here, the number in front, is 1. So bear that in mind. So 3x minus 1x is going to give me 2x. And then you can see we've got some xy's. So we've got these two terms here. Now, important things to remember is the sign is always in front of the term. So the plus signs tell you that these two terms are both positive. So you've got plus 2xy and a plus 3xy. We'll just count them up. So you've got 2 plus 3 more, and you've got 5xy in total. And we've got some numbers. So again, the signs are in front of the number. So it's a plus 7 and a minus 9. When we combine them, what does that give us? It's going to give us minus 2. And there we go. It's simplified. Next one. Again, pause the video. Have a go. Okay, again, so we've got some different terms here. We've got some x squareds and some x's and some numbers. So again, you just start with your first term. So we're looking at x squareds. 3x squared minus 2x squared. Well, that's going to leave me with 1x squared. Moving on to the x's, you've got minus 6x this time, plus 3x. What does that give you overall? It's going to give you a minus 3x. And then your numbers, a plus 4 and a minus 3. Collect those up, and you're going to end up with a plus 1. Okay, last one. We've got some brackets now, so it'd probably be a good idea to expand those. And as you remember from GCSE, you just multiply whatever's in the bracket by the number outside, or the term outside, I should say. So this one, we've just got 3. So we're going to times everything in that bracket by 3. And then it's important to remember on the second bracket that it's a minus 2 that you're multiplying by. Some people think they leave the minus sign alone and just do 2 times everything, and then you get some signs wrong if you do that. So let's have a look. Expand each bracket first. The first one, timesing everything by 3. You've got 3 times a, 3a. And then you've got 3 times b squared. So that's 3a plus 3b squared. This one we've got minus 2 times 3a. Now a minus times a positive, it's going to give us a negative term. So it's going to be minus something. So then what would 2 times 3 be? It's going to give us 6. So we've got minus 6a in the front. And the back term, the last one, was minus 2 times minus 4b squared. And that's where the plus comes from. A minus times a minus gives us a plus. So then we're looking at collecting up our like terms. So you can see what's happened here. The 3a and the minus 6a have gone together to give me minus 3a, and then the 3b squared, the plus 3b squared I should say, and the plus 8b squared have been added together to give me the plus 11b squared. It's worth mentioning at the moment that you need to know your rules for negative numbers. The amount of mistakes that are made at A level due to a minus sign going missing is incredible. Okay, so really concentrate when you're multiplying out negatives, really focus on what you're doing. Right, the second exercise from the textbook is to do with indices. And we're going to look at the basic rules from GCSE, go over those again, and then just do some examples applying those rules. So the first one we need to be aware of is when you multiply the same base with different powers, then you just add the powers. So let's have a look at an example here. So the base number is 3, and we've got 3 to the power 4 times 3 to the power of 2. Then just add together the powers. That's 3 to the power of 6. Second, well, this is kind of intuitive if you know the first rule. Obviously, the inverse operation to multiply is divide. So then the inverse to plus is going to be minus. So when you're dividing the same base numbers with different powers, then you subtract the powers. Have a look at an example of that. We've got 5 to the 7 divided by 5 to the power of 3. So 7 take away 3 is going to leave us with the 4 there. Most of you are probably remembering all of this from your GCSE course. So you're probably wondering, well, when do we actually times powers? Well, this is the situation that you're looking for when you've got a power inside the bracket and then a power outside. Then you multiply those two together. So looking at an example, you've got 6 to the power of 2, all to the power of 4. So those two powers there will just multiply together to give you 6 to the power of 8. Negative powers. So if you've got a negative power, it's going to give you essentially, it's going to move this term to the bottom of a fraction, like the reciprocal almost. So you're looking at a to the power of minus m. Well, the power stays with the a, so it'd be a to the m, but it'd be 1 over a to the m. It's going to give you the reciprocal. And so what I really should be saying there is actually that it's going to give you the reciprocal if the minus sign if you took out the minus sign from the term. So you're actually going to get 1 over 5 squared, not 1 over 5 to the minus 2, if you like. Okay, so that's the rule there. So we're looking at what happens when you've got like a fractional power. A fractional power, well, the number on the bottom of the fraction is going to be the root. So if you've got like the power of a half, it would be a square root, or the power of a third, that would be a cube root. So it would be, on this example, you've just got a general example here, so it's going to be to the root of n. Let's have a look at a numerical example. So like we said, if you've got 7 to the third, then the bottom number is you take the root. Okay, so you take the cube root of 7, and then you would raise it to the power of 1, which is going to remain the cube root of 7. If you had a 2 up here, then you would square the result that you got. So here's an example that will show you that. Let's go to the numerical one. So just like I said here, so you've got 10 to the 2/5. So the 5 on the bottom means you've got a take the 5th root of 10, and then the top, it just does what the usual power would do. It's going to raise it to the power of 2. So you've got the 5th root of 10 squared. Okay, some basic rules there from the indices GCSE chapter. So just a few more examples to consolidate. Have a go at these. So pause the video and have a go at this. This one's pretty straightforward. You're just going to add the powers together. Again, pause the video, have a go. So this one, I think normal numbers first. Normal numbers just do what they normally do. 2 times 3 is going to give me 6. And then the powers are being multiplied, so we're going to add those together. So if we add the 2 and the 3, we're going to get 5. So it'll be 6r to the power of 5. C, so again, I'm going to pause the video, have a go at this. From our rules, we should see that it's just going to end up being 4 minus 4. So the power would be b to the power of 0. So anything to the power of 0 is going to result in it being 1. And we'll go through that at a later point. Have a go at this one. So again, like I said, normal numbers do the normal thing. So 6 divided by 3, let's do that first. The normal number 6 divided by 3 is going to give me 2. And then we're going to subtract the powers. So you've got to be careful with things like this, because you've got to remember that the divide is essentially standing in for a minus sign. So it's minus 3 minus minus 5. Okay, so what's that going to be? The minus and the minus here are going to combine to give me a plus 5. So we're going to end up with minus 3 plus 5. So it'll be 2x to the power of 2, because minus 3 plus 5 is 2. And e, again, this one here, I would simplify the first part. So what's the rule here? If you look back through your rules, this is when we multiply powers together. So that's a to the power of 6, and you've got a to the power of 6 times 2a squared. So a to the power of 6, the coefficient in front of that would be a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. That's the normal numbers done. And now the powers, you had a to the 6, and you've got a power of 2 on the second term. So add those together, and you're going to end up with 2a to the power of 8. And f, the last one, is, again, we're going to simplify this. So this is another situation where you probably need to take a bit of care with you, because you've got two things in this bracket. You've got an x squared and you've got the 3. Now the power on the 3 is actually a 1. It's 3 to the power of 1. We don't write the 1 in, but you can imagine you've got to times everything, all the powers in the bracket, by the 3 that's outside. So the 3 to the power of 1 is actually going to be the 1 and the 3 will times together, and you'll get 3 cubed, and the x squared will multiply with the 3, so the 2 and the 3 will become x to the power of 6. So you've got 3 cubed and x to the power of 6. So what's 3 cubed? 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So we're going to end up with 27 x to the power of 6. And then we can then do our division here. So again, the coefficient here is 1. So 27 divided by the 1 that's not there is 27. The powers, we're dividing, so that rule is we're subtracting. So we'll end up with 27 x to the power of 2. Okay guys, that's the first couple of exercises there. Just a bit of revision to get you back into the swing of your maths after the long summer. And go on to the next videos and we'll carry on with this first chapter.